Hi guys. Hi guys, how are you doing? So we are back live, and from today onwards, we would be starting the analysis in a different dimension. It would be more on the side of the teaching aspect, especially on the education aspect. And I want you to support me through all this journey because I've made like enough of the content, and I believe that if we would be more serious about this aspect, it wouldn't be like a bad thing because it would be really helpful to you guys as well, because there is a lot of fake stuff out there on internet. And I want you guys to bring your friends out here who are responsible and who wants to like earn on their own self as well. So we would be discussing everything out here, but it would be kind of like only related to the forex stuff. So let's get back to the understanding and see that what things are and how things are looking, how the things got developed. There are a bit of changes occurring in the market, and as you know that the market is dynamic, so there would be like a lot of new stuff which you would be like looking at, and specifically it would be a great deal for learning for myself too. So the thing is that I have attached my PayPal QR code right here. So if you guys want to support me in this and you're enjoying the stream, so do let me know. Just a sec, guys. So we are looking at the overview right now, and like how the things work every day. We're gonna like move through the fundamentals, and then we would be jumping into the charts as well. So there's a lot that which we can discuss actually out here. So we can see right here that euro USD euro USD has been like down around about like 0.3 to 3%. That is a sign that the dollar is boosting. The pound isn't as down as euro, so pound is still holding. We would be having a CPI for the pound as well. We will be discussing that. And secondly, we do have USD JPY, and we can see that it is kind of like acting a bit stronger right now based on the euro right here. So seems like yens are a bit stronger, so that's why we are not looking enough of a momentum in USD as compared to the yens. And we see USD CHF, there is a good increase in US dollar as compared to the Swiss right here. Australian dollar is also strong, and the reason for the Australian dollar, we also had the CPI for Australian dollar as well. So gold a little bit of a down, silver uh, showing the strength, copper is showing the strength, oil is showing the strength, BTC is showing the strength, ETH is showing the strength, and SPX index is showing the strength, and FTSE is showing the strength, DAX is showing the strength, and similarly like that. So this is the journal overview. We would be going into the more overviews, and we would be discussing the data and the news out here as well. So let's jump into the data that we would be having, and it would give you a better understanding out here. So guys, at 3 a.m. that is on the Eastern Standard Time, in the pound we would be having the CPI yearly, really important data that is coming out, and it can make enough of a difference out here. Much volatility might be existent because the pound is a strong currency out here, and it can impact everything. So the previous one was around like 3%, so most likelihood that 3% would be there. Then core CPI actually deals with the elimination, or it doesn't include specifically the food and energy sector. We would be discussing that. And then we would be having the annual budget release for the pound as well, so we have to like keep an eye on that. Then we have US dollar data, that is core durable goods and durable goods. And then we have like Chinese yuan data, that is consumer confidence. And CB leading indicator index. And then we have SNB, Swiss National Bank quarterly bulletin, that would be coming out. And then FOMC member speaks, and the crude oil inventories would be coming out. Important data for specifically relevant to the Canadian dollar, because we can discuss that later in that section. And then the Canadian dollar, we would be having Bank of Canada's summary deliberations as well. So let's jump into all this stuff so that we can actually get better understanding. So right here we do have like a CPI. What is a CPI? CPI is the change in the prices of goods and services purchased by the consumer. So whatever the prices are being changed on the daily lifestyle based on the consumer buying, so that is what is known as CPI. And this is considered the UK's most important data inflation, because it is used by the central bank's inflation target. Consumer prices account for the majority of overall inflation. And inflation is important to the currency valuation, because rising prices lead to the central bank to raise interest rates without rates out of the respect for the inflation containment mandate. So like the interest rates are basically designed based on the CPI data. And so this is the data out here for the CPI yearly coming out. The core CPI, as I mentioned, that excluding the volatile food, energy sector, and alcohol, tobacco items, so they are more perishable goods out here. Then the RPI is like retail price index. And it is also really important data, that a change in the price of goods and services purchased by the consumer for the purpose of consumption. So it includes a lot about the consumption as well, because it directly deals with the retail data. So RPI and CPI is that only measures goods and services bought for the purpose of consumption by the vast majority of the households. So then we have UBS economic expectations for Swiss, the level of diffusion index based on the surveyed institutional investors and analysts. So it is an index for the institutional investors, and it is a leading indicator for the economic health. Investors and analysts are highly informed by the virtue of their jobs, and changes in their sentiments can be an early signal for economic activity. And the survey is about the 30 institutional investors and analysts, which asked the respondent to rate the relative 6-month economic outlook. And it is also known as CFA, and Union Bank of the Switzerland and Chartered Financial Analysts are the ones who actually design this data. Then we have HPI. It deals with the home prices. The changes in the prices selling of the homes actually is greater than the forecast, and it is released after 45 days. And similarly, for each of this data, actually, like when it comes to inflation, like when there's an inflation happening, it is good for the currency, because more projects would be happening and everything is good. So all of these deals with the good amount of raises, like from the forecasted value, would be a good for the currency. And then we have annual budget release. So this document outlines the government budget for the year, including expected spending and the income level, borrowing level, financial objectives, and planned investments. So there's a document that would be coming out that would be dealing with borrowing levels, means the interest rates that are being set, and financial objective, planned investments, which are basically dealing with the projects out there. So domestic government spending, borrowing level have a significant impact of the economy. Increased spending generates the work for the contractor and creates jobs, while borrowing level impacts the nation's current credit rating and provides insight into the nation underlying fiscal policy. So really important budget release that is coming out, and we do have like a core durable orders that is for the USD. The change in the total value of new purchase orders placed with the manufacturers for durable goods, excluding the transport items. So in core we do not have the transportation items, and this is the total value of the new purchase orders placed with the manufacturers. So more orders would be placed, it means that more projects are being done, more jobs are being created. So this data is usually revised via the factory order reports released about the week earlier. So order is for the aircraft are more volatile and can severely distort the underlying trend. So it is a better gauge for the purchase order trends. It is a leading indicator for production. Rising prices order signals that manufacturer will increase the activity as they work to fill the orders. Then we have CB, leading indicator for the Chinese yuan, that will be coming around at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Change in the level of composite index based on the 8 economic indicators. This index is designed to predict the direction of the economy, but it tends to have a muted impact because most of the indicators used to calculate are released previously. So it is basically a combined collection of the different data, and that is fitted so that we can understand that what is happening. So it is known as Consumer Board Incorporation that would be dealing with that, and combines the reading of 8 economic indicators related to the consumers' expectations, export order, industries and profitability, logistic index, and total loans issued, and construction started, and labor demand, imports of the capital. So these are the data out here that are coming out, and I want to welcome Mr. Aftab for joining the stream. And these are the data that is coming out for the Chinese yuan at 9 a.m. Then at 10 a.m. we would be having a quarterly bulletin. So more hawkish than expected is good for the currency, and tends to have a mild impact because much of the information released to work 2 weeks earlier in the monetary policy assessment. So Mr. Aftab, we would be discussing pound after a few minutes. We just would be going through fundamentals, but we have discussed that the CPI is coming for the pound at 3 a.m. today at Eastern Standard Time. That is a New York time. So we might be looking at some of the volatility in pound, but we would be looking deeply into the charts as well. And then we have FOMC member speaks. FOMC member speaks usually deal with the current situation in the country, and this is they work with the interest rates and public engagement. And then crude oil inventories for the US dollar inventory is coming really important, because how this crude oil actually impacts the data for the crude oil impacts the Canadian dollar is that if the more oil reserves are present in United States, and it means that they have a good quantity of the oils that are present. So of course the demand is not there, so that's why the inventory has oil present with them. So of course the prices for the oil would be reduced, and then whenever the Canadian dollar whenever the Canada would be providing with the exporting the oils, they would be sending the oil on the less prices, because already the oil inventories are there. So the change in the change in the number of barrel of the crude oil held in the inventory by the commercial firms during the past week. So that is the reason. If for example they have more barrels of crude oil present with them, it means that the commercial firms are holding more oil. So it means that the prices of the oil would be decreased. So that's why it says that actual less than forecast is good for the currency, while this is a US indicator, and it most affects the loonies, that is the Canadian currency that is known as loonie. So it is a primary gauge for supply and demand imbalance in the market, which can lead to the changing in production, and that's why it is really important to see that this data should be less than the actual one. So, and then we have summary. Then there's another member of speaks, and then summary deliberations would be coming out. So more hawkish than expected is good for the currency, and it 8 times per year it happens, and after 2 weeks of overnight rates is announced. So this type of data that is come out after the interest rates are being released for the Canadian dollar, then we see this summary that comes out, and a detailed record for the BOC governing council's most recently meeting, and in-depth insight of economic situation that influenced their decisions. So these are the data that are being announced today, and really important stuff coming out specifically related to the pound. We would be looking at the volatility in dollar as well, and along with that we would be looking into the volatility into the Canadian dollar as well. So let's jump into the news, that what are kind of the news is out there, so that we can see that Trump, Mexico and Canada have stepped it up a lot. This is the tweet that actually happened from the financial juice right here. It says that, so it is kind of like a target towards making a target towards bringing the attention towards like Mexico and Canada from the Trump zeroes in on Fed setting up a potential fight with Powell. So as we all know that the Federal Reserve is an independent organization, or you can say that it's an independent administration out there. So that's why, like for example, all the monetary policy that is designed is independent in the countries, so that no president or like the situation can actually alter that. So in that case, the Trump is right now putting some of the pressure on the Feds, because they actually want to decrease the interest rates, and right now the interest rates are remaining the same for United States. So President Trump is zeroing on the Federal Reserve and setting up a fight with its leader Jerome Powell, and the president is eager for the Fed to speed up planned interest rate cuts and ease pressure on the economy, aimed deepening concern about his trade agenda. Fed in turn is preparing for potential shock driven by. So this is really important, that this actually represents that the Feds are being trying to be pressurized, and this can bring us a good amount of volatility, and we have to be smart about it. And Trump on April 2 tariffs, I have set them. So from April 2nd we would be having a new tariffs on basically on automobiles and like steel and all the aluminum stuff out there. So, and also on the exports, by the way. So I have set them. Post the Trump tariff will create more jobs. Post Trump would like to see interest rates come down, and EU have been freeloading and is terrible on trade. So it is really good indication that how the euro would be reacting with this kind of scenario out here. Then we do have like UK inflation data and spring statements in focus. Tomorrow welcomes the UK February inflation print, consumer price index at 7 a.m. GMT. So GMT at 7 a.m. we would be having a CPI, and then US imposes sanctions on 3 Iranian individuals. So this was today's breaking news that actually came out. So let's get into some of the news. That AU inflation, basically today we did had like an Australian dollar inflation data coming out. So AU, our data came a little bit less than the expected one. So AU inflation slows again less than a week from the next interest rate decisions. So maybe like next week we would be having the interest rate decisions. So uh, in that case, Australian dollar is currently showing a weakness in the inflation that can signal they might not change the interest rate. So US economic growth is moderation, but data doesn't show a clear sign. And again we discussed that, and Trump maybe implement copper import tariffs within a week. So the tariffs were usually maybe on the steel and aluminum, and now it would be on the copper as well. And BOJ governor is saying that if the food inflation is temporary, we shouldn't respond with the monetary policy. So they might not be changing any kind of rates, because they are saying that inflation that has happened in the Japanese yen is maybe temporary. So there is there is uncertainty on whether food and rice prices will fall, but on year basis, pace of increase likely to slow. And then there is another statement by Bank of Japan that Japan economy recovering moderately, and some weakness in Japan economy is likely to continue to grow, and that is a sign that yens might get weaker. And this is like from Yahoo Finance and important data that option traders can cut back expectation for US rates this year. So they are like thinking that they might not cut it. So this is the general outlook for the currency today, and the different kind of newses which we discussed out here. Now jumping here, we can actually see that. So here we see that BOJ may hike rate if the food inflation spreads. So this is the data that we were news which we're currently discussing. The Bank of Japan may consider monetary tightening if a surge in the food prices trigger a broader inflation. So the governor Yuda told a parliamentary committee on Wednesday. He noted that the surge in the certain food prices could spill over to processed foods and restaurants. So they are kind of like having a issue with the foods. So however, he emphasized that a central bank should not react if the food inflation proves temporary. Consumer inflation has remained above the BOJ's 2% target. So consumer inflation that is talking about, inflation is more than 2% right now. So by the way, like, you need to remember that 2% inflation is basically considered as an ideal inflation in a country. And we can see that despite of ongoing inflationary pressure, the board kept its policy rate at 0.5% last week as it assesses the impact of the January hike. So the copper surges. So there's a big move in the copper, guys. Because of the tariff concerns, the copper futures soared 0.525 per pound on Wednesday, reaching the fresh highs, aiming that the US President Donald Trump would impose copper tariff within the week. So that is important. And we did had like Australia unveils tax cut and extend bill reliefs in 2025 budget. New Zealand dollar gains for second day. So the New Zealand dollar rose around 0.574 on Wednesday, extended gains from the prior session, aimed hope that US President Trump would take more measured approach on tariffs. So there is a um, big concern with New Zealand kiwi as well based on the tariffs. So Trump on Monday indicated that not at all his threatened levies would be imposed on April 2nd, hinted of potential exemption but provide no detail. And we can see that would be less affected by US dollar trademarks. So if there are certain kind of tariffs which are imposed, so New Zealand kiwi would be affected. And so this is 2 hours ago with the Chinese stocks edge higher as a minor lead gain. So Shanghai Composite rose 0.2% towards 33.80, while so there is a rise in the stocks of the Chinese China, and that is really important to keep in the mind. And then there is a CPI basically that came for Australian dollar. The Australian dollar monthly consumer price index advanced 2.4% yearly, easing from the January 4 month high 2.5. So they have decreased the inflation has been decreased from 2.5 to 2.4% for Australian dollar right here. And so there was like a good amount of increase in S&P 500, 0.1% on Tuesday, and Nasdaq also gained like 0.5%. That shows that market is gaining a little bit, but Nvidia declined 0.6%, and Tesla rose 3.4%. Anyway, guys, these are the certain kind of news is out here that we can actually discuss. Let's jump into the charts right here. So as you know that I only trade Forex, so we would be talking and discussing only related to the Forex, not much about any other commodity or metal out there. So like gold or silver, we would be looking only into the currencies. So let's look at the DXY first. We just know that DXY was acting as a falling knife around this point, and after that this was the point where the election day happened on November 6th right here. This was the boost that happened with the election day, and right here we can see the reaction that we can actually see that there's a double bottom around here, and after that a little bit of movement in the dollar prices after like giving us a good sell trend from this point has been like stopped around this point, and making this W around here. That is a good sign for a double bottom around here, and we can see more deeply by understanding that how the price action is actually acting currently based on this. So but what I actually wanted to tell you that this is the exact point where the election boost came, that election bullishness came in US, and after that we can see that DXY is kind of like holding that. At that point we can see that there are like two peak formations, and this is how the things are looking like, a double bottom around here, and we can see that the trend has like broken out of this range around this point, and after that there was a pullback retest of this level. And really important thing to see is that the retest which happened around after this break of this range, we can see that we did caught a doji right here creating this morning star, and then prices started pushing, and this would be a kind of like a double rejection around here which we can see. So this candle might be breaking this zone, and we might be looking at the dollar pump that can go up to like 105, and but it all depends upon the current scenario. Specifically with the CPI, there might be certain kind of changes that would be coming into the market, but technically what I believe that this is the resistance right here, this is the resistance right here. So price might be like continuously giving us a continuous move of breaking out of this zone. So this is what I think about DXY, and most likelihood is that what I believe that the reaction which we might be getting around this FTR level, and until then the prices can actually like digest this money all around here that has formed. So on the other hand, if we see that the rise actually started happening from the fibs, 70% of the fib around here, so it is kind of like a valid level. We might see the I personally believe that um, the way the V-shaped structure has formed right here, there is much likelihood that prices would be breaking out and going up to this level even, and can cross and reach to this FTR level right here, and then we might get a retest or something. So now looking at USD CAD right here. So USD CAD has been like USD CAD has given us a peak formation high right here, and similarly peak formation high right here, and secondly we can see that the the dollar was giving us a good momentum of the strength against the Canadian dollar, loonie, and after that there was a double top right here. The price is pushed back down here into this order block right here, and after coming the prices came to this order block, and then again we saw a reaction, and price went up, formed a peak formation high, and also created this head and shoulder right here, and then we can see that the prices came back, retested this order block around here, and then prices went down, and this was the neckline again. The prices retested this level, and prices are moving on the upper side like that. But it is really important to remember that if we are looking at DXY in a bullish sense, so although like fundamentally we can expect prices can go down, but in USD CAD because of the tariff stuff, but the most important thing is that we are looking dollar to get stronger. We might not get like a big move in this Canadian dollar, but most likely that prices might be coming around here, taking this liquidity around this point, and then we might see a reaction around this point, and later on we might get this type of structure, and then a range, and then prices can go on the upper side like that. So in that case, what I would be like doing, I want to place my alert right here, so that if the prices come on the downside, we would be having an indication that prices would be reaching to this point. Then we have USD CHF right here, and we can see overall the trend was like bearish for the dollar, but as the prices reach to this level around 185 0.87500 right here, we can see the reaction started happening. We saw this peak formation low right here, and then peak formation high. After this downfall, we can see that this is quite choppy in its own sense right here, and after that there was a selling structure that began, and prices went down. Then we got this double bottom around here, then a breakout, and after the breakout we can see that this is the triple bottom that has formed around here, and now this is a good sign of the strength, because this is what usually like happens in the forex industry, that when a double top has been formed and prices start ranging on a certain level, there is a high likelihood that it would be breaking out on the upper side like that. So this is what I currently believe, that this structure would be like breaking out on the upper side like that, and can continue up till this level around here, around 189 0.89 200 level. So then we have USD JPY. As we know that there was like good amount of news for yens as well, that they are discussing about their food and inflation as well, so that is bringing yens a little bit on the downside, and enhancing the strength of the dollar right here. We can see that the prices are breaking on the upper side, a pullback move, prices moved on the upside, failed to break the high around here. We saw this selling candle around here, and this selling candle actually kept on running for a while, coming around this point, and then prices started rising, and there is a break that happened around here. So after this break, we were having a good amount of idea that the the trend is bullish, right? So at this point we saw a good amount of rejection today, and the reason was the data that was coming out for the dollar today. And uh, and let me check something. So there was a data that was coming out today, specifically the consumer confidence data, and so in that case we did saw a reaction on the downside, based on the weakness on the USD and the strength on the yens, and then now USD is taken back with this V-shaped structure. Much likelihood is that prices would be breaking on the upper side, and we might start looking for certain kind of reactions, and the reactions could be can be like based on like this order block right here. We might see certain kind of reaction around this point. So, and as we know that 151 500 is a kind of like a round number, so let me place my alert right there. So let's see how things actually look. But it's really important to remember that whenever like dollar starts getting strengthful against the yens, we might see a really big move, usually like so much big that it it is against our even excuse me guys. So it might be against um, our own analysis. So that is really a good sign. By the way, this V-shaped structure reversal out here happening around this order block, so it's a good sign that prices can push on the upper side and can even like reach to this part. But overall I would be much interested around this point to see that how the price would be reacting in the yens. But overall I believe that dollar is quite bullish today. And let's come onto the euro right here. A really wonderful opportunity today, as we know that right here this was like a support and resistance flip that happened, and this was actually the support. Later on, like went and turned into the resistance, and people who had like taken trade around here might be looking at a good profit amount. But overall what I am looking is that I am looking at this level currently, and we can see that there was a 3 level rise here, and then prices failed to break around this point, and then the prices started coming on the downside, and still moving on the downside. And if we can see in coming days that if the prices reaches on the downside like that, nothing to worry about if you have missed the trade or something like that. But it is the good thing is that we might get a reversal around here, something like that, and then you can actually take the trade and prices can move further on the downside in the euro like that. Pound euro GBP, we can see that the euro was quite weak today with the opening, and we can see that this part was like a neckline right here, and we can see a clear break that happened around here. um, euro GBP is like really important pair today to work on, because we would be having the CPIs, so things might look a little bit different, uh, and we might see a big amount of volatility into this pair as well. So what currently I believe is that based on the structure right here, that we can actually capitalize if we can see the weakness is still persistent in the euro. So, and if the pound gets stronger, we can see that prices can even reach on the downside like that, based on any kind of like pullback that would be occurring. But because we can only see the historical sense right here, this was like a wonderful opportunity right here, we can see that the, this is like a pump and dump scenario, and prices went up, digested this move a little bit, again retested this level, failed to break around this point, and then we got a retest and continuation move on the downside, and prices are continuously moving on the downside. So it seems like the weakness is still persistent, and any sort of pullback around this order block, uh, around maybe around like this order block, we can actually expect a move on the downside, in further continuation of this trend like that. So then this is euro odd. We can see that euro is weaker than Australian dollar as well, and this is like a head and shoulder right here, and after that the prices went down, retested this level, again went up, retested this level. This is a good sign of weakness around this point, and again the prices are pushing on the downside. Much likelihood is that we have to actually wait for the reaction around this point, and then we can get a good understanding of like what is happening. So I would be placing my alert around 1.7, so that this would give us like a better indication that either the prices, how the prices would be reacting around this point. And let's see. Now we do have euro NZD. So there was like after formation of this double bottom around this point, we saw a break that happened. So what I was guys is telling that this was the double bottom that has formed around here. Then we saw a break, that the break happened, then a pullback that happened, and after that this pullback was based on like 1 hour. Let me show you guys. Maybe around like 15 minutes time frame we saw this. Yeah, so although like we can discuss this, but I like to like talk in the higher time frame level. So what ended up happening, that prices made like a move on the upside like that, and just a sec guys, let me readjust the charts. So this is the double bottom that was formed. After that we saw a good break of structure around here. This is an FTR level right here. At 15 minutes time frame we saw the prices coming back down, and then again prices pushed on the upper side, failed to break around here. Although I was doing a long from this point, because the idea was that this is a pullback that happened and prices might continue on the upper side like that, and then the prices again came back down there again. From this point a good amount of the idea remained persistent that the price it would be going on the bullish side, but they failed. But instead the stop loss got hit, and this trade that I had like taken, I kind of like got out based on the scenarios that was building. So not a big harm, but what eventually happened, that prices actually came back down there like that. So it is really important to place a stop loss right in there, and you have to like manage trade. You can't let the prices reach to your stop loss. You need to like understand really early that what are the scenarios being built. So the idea was simple, that this was a double bottom around here, prices broke out, and after that prices came back down, again failed to break around here, This was a wonderful opportunity to take a sell position around this point, and now you can see that with this retest again at this level, prices has been like pushing on the downside. So much likelihood is that prices would be reaching at the bottom, and we can see the weakness in the euro clearly around this point. So in that case, I want to remove certain levels around here so that the chart can be more cleaner. So I hope you guys understood the idea that what I am trying to explain you is, see, the trend is on the downside, right? If you get like a big move on the upper side like that, this is a pump and dump scenario usually. So what end up happening that prices came back down again, prices pushed and retest this level, failed to break this level, and after failing to break this level, then we can see a little bit of a range develop, and then prices move on the downside. And this is the range which I am talking about, and this is the this part you can see right here. This is this part right here, failing to break on the upper side. Although after this double bottom, I was considering a push on the upper side. So I hope it make a good analysis, but really a wonderful sell opportunity that was developed in euro right here. And euro CAD, this is the wonderful move that is happening on the sell side in euro because of the weakness in euro. Really important. I want to write euro because euro is making a significant downside moves, and we can see this was the order block right here. We can see that prices went up, retested this level and broke out from this point, and making a peak formation low right here. And then again we saw a reaction that happened around this order block, and now prices are pushing on the downside further. And let's see where the prices would actually stop, and we get a pullback again like this type of structure, and then a range, and then prices can continue on the downside. So it's really important for you to understand different kinds of scenarios or setups which you have whenever they come into the market. You can actually take a trade on them. Euro JPY, similar momentum like which we had like in USD right here. So we can see that yens are weaker here, and the euro is significantly pushing on the upper side. Gave us a break around this point. Prices came back down there, failed to break on the lower side. Prices went up, and now again the prices are pushing on the upper side. This could be a wonderful opportunity in that sense, as we know that in all the pairs, based on the correlation, the euro is pushing on the downside. I hope the voice is now clear. So we can see right here that this double bottom was formed, and then prices went up, came back down. If we can get a reaction around here, what I'm trying to say is that as we know that euro, it has been like a weak pair overall. So in that case, prices made like this demand zone around here, and after that the prices pushed on the upper side. Now if the prices reaches to this level around here and fail to break around this point, then prices go into the range structure around here, give us some retest into this range. So then you can actually take a sell position reaching the prices to this level. This can give us a wonderful opportunity, and I believe that this setup would really be a classic setup if things happen like that. So even I want to like take a screenshot of this so that I can actually store it for myself. Now moving towards the next chart, Euro CHF, similar structure right here, that euro is showing the weakness in Swiss as well. A little bit of a pullback happening around here. Most likelihood is that similar structure right here, you see that prices was pushing on the downside. We got a little bit of an uptrend move, and after that we can see that prices again try to push on the upper side, and then failed, and then moving on the downside. So we might be looking at the trend continue like that on the downside for the euro Swiss as well. And now this is pound USD, and as Aftab was discussing about uh, the pound, so that's why we are looking at pound right now. And it is really clear in pound that pound is still holding the level. Euro has been more weaker than pound, so this is the pound structure right here. Each time like prices pushed on the upper side, and then at this point the prices actually created this triple top and failed to break around that point. A good signal that the prices has stopped pushing on the upper side. Prices came back down there, again retested this level, and based on the idea that dollar is getting stronger, so I believe that prices might come to this point, and from this order block then we can actually look into the understanding that how things would be looking. I wouldn't be touching this pair until unless like prices reach to this level, and either they're gonna break around this point or something like that. So this is the idea for the pound. Aftab, if you are there, AAK FX Academy. So this is what the idea is, that prices I would be waiting around this point. Much likelihood on the other hand is like if you want to like day trade it, because so Aftab, I was just like explaining that the pound has been like giving us this upside move right here, and we can see after this point the prices are unable to break on the upper side. So after that the prices went on the downside, and then we can see a retest in here, and then again a retest in here, and most likely the prices can come on the downside if the dollar strength starts to gather up. And secondly, we do have like evening star doji right here, then we do have like another doji right here, signaling that the prices are getting little weaker, although this is a small order block right here. But overall what I believe is that prices can come on the downside. So I would be looking at the pound, or taking a trade in a pound USD, or planning a trade in a pound USD until unless like prices actually kind of like breaks out of this zone around here, might get a retest around this point, and after that prices can continue on the downside like that. But most importantly I would be looking at this level, and that's why I would be placing my alert right here around 1.28800, so that we can actually get an understanding about it. But overall the setup is not clear in what I personally think right now. And similar structure right here, we can see that Australian dollar is a bit stronger right here. Although we saw the similar structure right here in the pound, that prices pushed 3 times up here, and then there was a good amount of break that happened. Again the prices retested this level, got a beautiful doji around this point, and now prices are pushing on the downside. We can see that each time we are getting a bigger wicks that actually signals the seller induction in there, because as the price opened around this point, price first went up, came back down, and then closed around this point. So it signals like a good amount of strength in on the seller side right now. But let's see how the things look later on. And then GBP NZD, similar structure, a beautiful structure. Instead, it is more easy uh, than Australian dollar. We can see that there's a good amount of break that happened. Again, prices formed this demand zone around here. Prices then broke out of this structure, and right now the prices are ranging around this point. So whenever we are looking at a bullish structure right here, so how things happen that whenever the price comes back down all of a sudden, then we can see that again the prices come back down here, fail to break, and then this range develops around here, like similarly like this structure that has formed. This is the range, and then prices can push on the upper side like that. So most likelihood is I believe that prices can push on the upper side. There is a good opportunity for the price to even like reach up there as well. And then GBP CAD right here, we are looking at like we are looking at a reaction, and we can place some of the levels around here as well. So currently the prices are pushing on the downside, but it all depends upon the Canadian dollar oil data that would be coming out as well, and CPI for the pound. And then again the prices for the yens gave us this wonderful move today. This was the easiest move because you can see that exactly this is, I'm talking about GJ right now, and we can see that the prices went up, formed this resistance around here, came back down, broke out of this resistance, came back to this support, and then we saw this reaction, a beautiful reaction on the upper side, and much likelihood is that it can break on the upper side like that. So there is a good amount of working that needs to be done on the upper side, but overall the prices can like literally reach up to this level as well. Around here, so secondly it's like totally bullish as compared to like yens, because yens seems quite weak as compared to the other pairs. And GBP-CHF similarly pushing on the upper side, and Australian dollar right here, we can see in Australian dollar that we saw this bullish pump after the breakout. Prices came back around here, formed failing to break on the downside, and then we saw this upside move. Prices again retested this level and now holding around this point. Really important stuff out here. And then a breakout again, and then this retest with this big doji right here, and again we can see the strength that is coming in Australian dollar. And prices can although push on the upper side, but it is something really important to remember right now, that we might see a reaction around this point. So if the prices fail to break around here on the upper side, we might like get a move on the downside like that based on the dollar strength today, because right now the Australian dollar is pumping, but overall if we see that the dollar is strong, so I personally believe that we might see a reaction around this point. It is just a retest that is happening for this. We might see, the idea is that the trend is, if you see, start looking at from this point, that the prices are pushing on the downside, and now this is like a retest that is happening, and if the prices fail to break around this point, we might see a full reaction on the downside like that for the Australian dollar as well. Let's see, this is AUD and ZD right here. In AUD and ZD we got this liquidity sweep around here, amazing move, peak formation low, breakout around here, retested, and then pushed on the upper side, and this is like a key zone right here, and we can see the reaction happened around this point. But let's see how New Zealand dollar would be reacting with this pair. And then AUD CAD, we are seeing the strength in Australian dollar right now, but overall the scenario is that price is kind of like rejected from this point, unable to break this point, and prices like went on the downside. This is the range that is being formed right now, so much likelihood is that it would be breaking on the downside. Why I'm saying this, that it would be breaking on the downside, because as we know that there's the Canadian dollar data would be coming out tomorrow as well, in the morning. So then AUD JPY, we saw that weakness in the yens, again a beautiful move, a breakout from this point. So even if we can like look into like 15 minutes time frame right now, we can see that we can even buy this pair right now till this move up till that, because this is the only pair that actually gave a breakout in yens from this point, and amazing move that is happening. So entry should be here. So the idea is that we can actually like take this trade, placing the stop loss around here, but the risk to reward ratio is not that great, so I wouldn't be like taking this position right now, but maybe like later at night I might be jumping into that. So then AUD CHF right here, similarly Australian dollar getting really strong here, and that is quite astonishing that the way the Australian dollar is like getting the strength. So much likelihood is that with this kind of breakout that is happening around here, we might see a exact same move, really important setup, and I might be looking into this setup as well. AUD CHF, and then AUD and New Zealand dollar Kiwi, we can see the strength right now building in here. With this breakout, we can see the price is actually like retested this level around here, and then pushing on the upper side, and much likelihood is like, of course, like whatever we are looking at is that it might continue on the upper side like that. So I think dollar is getting a little bit weaker. This is NZD CAD right here, prices came to this order block right here, and we are looking at this double bottom being developed around here. So let's see if the prices fail to break around this order block, we might see a reaction on the continuation on the downside. Otherwise there could be a chance that prices can move on the upper side like that. Really amazing setup, by the way, and you can see that how this order block has acted really beautifully around here. So, and NZD JPY, amazing pullback, guys, amazing pullback around here. Today I took a trade on taking a short position around here, exactly exiting around this point, and took this amount of move. And the good part was that I exit my full position on this point, so it was a really wonderful idea to exit right in here. And we can see that prices kind of like went here, formed a reversal candles around this point, and then this continuation move again pushing on the upper side. So the idea is really simple, that we can see that this was like a trend that is building on the upper side with low leg of the W, and then prices pushing on the upper side, and then a pullback that happened. It's the same structure like that. Prices failed to break on the lower side, further pushed on the upper side, broke out on this zone, came back, retested around this point, and again action, creating a range right here, and then a breakout. So really a easy setup that actually existent, and we can see that it started around the opening of the market, and similar structure in the DCHF. pushing on the upper side, and this is CAD JPY. Amazing reversal around here. So price is actually much of the moves has already happened, but nothing to worry about. Prices like went on the upper side, came back, digested this move around here, and then again started pushing on the upper side. Much likelihood is that the continuation can happen. So CAD JPYs are like super weak, so that's why we are looking at the movements like that. And then Swiss, similarly, CAD is stronger than Swiss, and we are looking at this reaction. But overall, we can look like there are like certain points that I want to highlight, that this is the important level, this is an important level around here. So prices came back, went up, came back around this point, went up, and we can see that there's a failure to break around this point, and prices went down again, retested this level, broke out of this structure, again came back down, and again broke out. So we might see another move on the downside, and then again push a clear move that is out there, like in this scenario on CAD CHF. Really important move, easy structure out there. And so as we have seen that the yen's got stronger on Monday, that's why we saw this kind of strength around here. Prices came back down there, and now pulling back. We can see the effect is not as great, because Swiss might be weaker right now, but let's see if the prices even like fail to break around here. So we might see a continuation on the downside till this point, but we have to actually wait for this. So guys, overall understanding is that dollar is stronger, euro is impacting a lot, pound is not that much impacted, Australian dollar and New Zealand kiwi are quite strong right now, and on the other hand yens are quite weak, Swiss are like moderately weak, and Canadian dollar is quite stronger right now. So this is what the outlook is, and I hope you would be understanding that. So if there are any questions, I'm here, so do let me know. Any questions, any pair you want to like actually focus? If there are any questions, do let me know. Any pair you want to like talk about, or any concept you want to get your understanding cleared about. So I'm still waiting for questions. If you want to ask any question. So you can even like follow me on TradingView right here. I post a lot of trading setups around here. I keep them updated. Like this was the setup that I shared. It didn't work well, but I also update that the stop loss was hit around here. Then this was Euro GBP long right here, and the trade actually got scratched in this, and AUD CHF setup. So this was like trade that was closed manually, worked really well, and you can follow me for the setups as well, and you can even like boost right here. So this is my handle right here. And we can even like look at the gold at before we leave, because although I don't trade gold, but we can look for you guys. So right here we can see that there was a breakout that actually happened, and with this breakout, this was a retest right here, and then a range formation around this point, and the prices broke out on the range, moved on the upper side, then came back down there, again retested this level. But what we are looking at is currently prices failing to break on the upper side, and in that case, guys, like I believe that there is a high likelihood that prices might like reverse around this point, and 3000 level is like really important level. And the reason for the gold to like actually come on the downside and touch this level is just based on the current scenario right here, because we did got this evening star right here, and then this doji right here, which are a good signal right now that the weakness is that the sellers are present on the upper side like that. But like fundamentally anything can happen, because it's gold. The pip size for the gold is like quite like small, so if you place an order, so there could be a good amount of retracement based on like changes in the PNL, and then prices can come on the downside like that. So this is the current idea based on that prices can like come here around to this point. But let's see, because overall trend is bullish, and on the other hand, like there could be another thing that prices kind of like push on the upper side, break, and reaches to this level. So this could be another scenario. But based on these two candles right here, or these two like structures, there is a triple top around this point. So you can see that first time rejection here, then here, then another rejection here. So prices can push on the downside like that as well. So guys, there are no questions, and everything is clear, so I would be leaving now. So do follow me on TradingView as well. My link is in the description. So take care, guys.